An actress walked out of her dressing room slowly. Her makeup was smeared, her blouse buttoned wrong. She didn't speak. She dropped a crumpled script into the hallway and walked away. Someone picked it up. The pages were marked in red. In the corner, a handwritten line read, "He doesn't act, he devours." In Hollywood's golden age, some leading men didn't just play charmers. They lived with power and control, certain no one would refuse them. Some hid it behind smiles, others behind silence. But everyone knew the truth. Work with them once, and you never left the same. Subscribe to Dark Stardom for Hollywood's darkest secrets. Errol Flynn. Behind his heroic, swashbuckling image, Errol Flynn lived a life filled with scandal, excess, and controversy. At the height of his fame in the 1930s and 1940s, he became known for heavy drinking, reckless behavior, wild parties, and numerous affairs. His off-screen lifestyle often overshadowed his on-screen success. In 1943, Flynn faced a highly publicized statutory rape trial involving two underage girls. Although he was ultimately acquitted, the case shocked Hollywood and the public. Instead of fading, the scandal strengthened his reputation as the industry's most notorious playboy. Over time, his reckless habits affected his health, finances, and career, cementing his legacy as classic Hollywood's ultimate bad boy. Fatty Arbuckle. One of the most popular stars of the silent film era, Roscoe "Fatty" Arbuckle was a comedy legend whose career collapsed almost overnight. In 1921, he was accused after actress Virginia Rappe fell seriously ill and later died following a party at a San Francisco hotel. The incident sparked a nationwide scandal and intense media outrage, turning Arbuckle into the center of one of Hollywood's first major controversies. He faced 3 trials for manslaughter. The first 2 ended in hung juries, and the third resulted in a full acquit, with the jury issuing a rare public apology. Despite his innocence, public opinion never fully recovered, and his acting career was effectively destroyed. Charlie Chaplin. A cinematic genius and one of Hollywood's greatest icons, Charlie Chaplin's personal life was often surrounded by controversy. Throughout his career, he faced public criticism over relationships with much younger women, several of whom later became his wives. His private scandals were widely covered by the press, damaging his wholesome public image. At the same time, Chaplin's outspoken political views and accusations of communist sympathies during the early Cold War era made him a target of government scrutiny. In 1952, while traveling abroad, his re-entry permit to the United States was revoked. Chaplin chose to settle in Switzerland, effectively ending his long Hollywood career and living the rest of his life in exile. Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford was the definition of old Hollywood glamour, powerful, elegant, and fiercely ambitious. On screen, she played strong, determined women, but behind the scenes, her private life was often described as strict and intensely controlling. Her reputation changed dramatically after the 1978 memoir Mommy Dearest, written by her adopted daughter, Christina Crawford. The book accused the actress of emotional instability, extreme discipline, and physical and psychological abuse. While some friends and family members disputed these claims, the shocking stories deeply affected Crawford's legacy. The memoir's later film adaptation reinforced the darker image, forever reshaping public perception of one of classic Hollywood's most iconic and complex stars. Clark Gable. Known as the King of Hollywood, Clark Gable projected strength, charm, and confidence on screen. But his personal life was far more complicated. Behind his legendary image were numerous affairs, secret relationships, and a reputation for being emotionally distant. One of the most talked about stories involved a hidden child from an alleged relationship that remained out of the public eye for years. His marriages were often strained, and his private life rarely matched the romantic heroes he portrayed. While fans admired his charisma and masculinity, insiders knew a different side, a man driven by passion, secrecy, and a carefully protected public image that hid many personal truths. Lana Turner. Lana Turner was Hollywood royalty known for her beauty, glamour, and magnetic screen presence. Off-camera, however, her life was filled with turmoil and scandal. In 1958, her teenage daughter Cheryl Crane fatally stabbed Turner's abusive boyfriend Johnny Stompanato during a violent altercation at Turner's home. The sensational trial that followed shocked the nation, exposing the dark and chaotic side of Turner's private life. While Turner maintained a composed public image, the incident revealed a world of fear, violence, and intense family drama behind the glitz of Hollywood. Despite the scandal, she continued her acting career, though the tragedy remained a permanent mark on her legacy, illustrating that fame and glamour often masked a turbulent personal life. Peter Lorre. Peter Lorre, celebrated for his chilling and unforgettable screen performances, often played villains and mysterious characters that fascinated audiences. Behind the scenes, however, Lorre faced serious personal struggles. After medical treatments in his life, he developed a severe morphine addiction that deeply impacted his health and well-being. His dependency affected both his professional and personal life, causing tension on set and making it difficult to maintain long-term projects. Lorre's addiction blurred the line between the dark characters he portrayed in his own reality, feeding rumors and speculation about his off-screen behavior. Despite these challenges, he continued to work in Hollywood and Europe, leaving a legacy as one of cinema's most iconic and unsettling actors. Barbara Payton. Barbara Payton rose to fame in the late 1940s and early 1950s with her striking looks and promising talent, quickly becoming one of Hollywood's most talked-about young actresses. But her personal life was a whirlwind of scandal and self-destruction. She was involved in highly publicized love triangles, violent fights with lovers, and repeated clashes with the law. Substance abuse and alcoholism fueled her downward spiral, affecting both her career and health. Once a star with bright prospects, Payton's film opportunities dwindled, and she eventually descended into poverty and obscurity. Her tragic story became a cautionary tale of fame's fragility, showing how Hollywood glamour could mask a life of chaos, poor decisions, and personal devastation. W.C. Fields. W.C. Fields was beloved for his comic genius and his on-screen persona as a lovable, cantankerous drunk, but that image closely mirrored his real life. Behind the laughs, Fields struggled with severe alcoholism that affected his health, professional relationships, and personal life. His dependence on alcohol often caused tension on set, fueled arguments, and led to unpredictable behavior that frustrated co-stars and directors. Despite these challenges, Fields maintained a prolific career in vaudeville, film, and radio, using his wit and timing to turn personal flaws into legendary comedy. Yet the line between his work and reality was blurred, and his off-screen life was as chaotic, bitter, and unpredictable as the characters he portrayed on screen. Ramon Novarro was one of silent Hollywood's most celebrated leading men. Known for his handsome looks, charm, and magnetic screen presence, rising to fame in the 1920s, he became a major box office draw, often cast as romantic or heroic figures in lavish productions. But behind the glamorous facade, Novarro lived a deeply private life, hiding his sexuality in an era when Hollywood enforced strict moral codes. The pressure to maintain his public image forced him into secrecy, keeping much of his personal life hidden from fans and colleagues alike. Tragically, his life ended violently in 1968 when he was murdered during a robbery at his Los Angeles home. The shocking crime sent ripples through Hollywood, highlighting both the vulnerability of stars and the dark realities many faced off-screen. Novarro's legacy remains a mix of cinematic brilliance and personal tragedy. Bette Davis. Bette Davis was a force of nature in Hollywood, celebrated for her extraordinary talent, fierce independence, and unforgettable screen presence. She was known for taking on complex, often controversial roles that challenged the era's expectations of women in film. Off-screen, her life was equally dramatic. Davis had a fiery personality that fueled bitter rivalries with co-stars, famously clashing with contemporaries like Joan Crawford and Miriam Hopkins. Her marriages were tumultuous, marked by divorces, disagreements, and heartbreak, while her relationships with her children were often strained by her relentless career focus. Davis's ambition and determination sometimes alienated colleagues, but also cemented her legacy as a pioneering, uncompromising actress. She faced professional setbacks, including being labeled difficult by studios. Yet, she repeatedly fought for creative control. Ultimately, her personal struggles and professional triumphs intertwined, making her life as captivating and sometimes as turbulent as the role she portrayed on screen.